What is it, guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, man, we're on some Infinite freaking Warfare, dude. One of my favorite Call of Duties of all time. I think one of the best Call of Duties of all time. It obviously had some of its own flaws, in my opinion, but still one of the greatest games of all time. We have a couple keys, we have a couple COD points, we're going to open a couple drops, and then we're going to go into a custom game lobby, or maybe we'll try to find a multiplayer lobby. I know multiplayer is pretty sweaty with cheaters on this game, and I want to go over some of the camos, because I think some of these camos are really freaking sick, dude, and I think it's one of the best mastery camos we've ever had in COD ever, and it sucks that we had to get headshots with both action snipers and exo game to acquire it. But without further ado, let's hop into the quartermaster real quick. So, I really do miss this game, man. There's not a lot of times I'll come back to this game and I'm like, damn, I kind of want to come back and play it. I got a lot of double XP tokens right there for some reason. Interesting. But man, yeah, Infinite Warfare was a great game. It came out right after Black Ops 3. This is like the first, or not first, sorry, the last EXO game we would have in the series. After this, we have World War II. And BO4, which are two World War One game and a semi-modern futuristic game. So it really was just an interesting time in that era. You can see here I have most guns in the game in terms of weapons and all that. And this is really the first game to introduce the salvage mechanic system. So this game and Modern Warfare Remastered are both going to have a salvage mechanic system, but this is going to be like the first game to really introduce it in the proper way, in my opinion. I think this is a much better mechanic system than we had in Modern Warfare Remastered, but I do believe the best we've ever had for salvage is definitely going to be the next game we do, which is going to be either, I think tomorrow I'm going to upload it, and that's World War II. But this is kind of the game to introduce it. This game also is one of the first games to introduce double XP tokens and not just double XP like tokens to activate. So in this game, instead of trying to activate double XP before you go on a match, you actually play the match and then you can choose to use double XP on that match if it was a good match. And I really like that feature. I understand why we don't have that feature no more, because we don't have supply drops in order to get the tokens. But I think it's just a really cool feature that we had, you know, that, like, hey, you had a really solid match, you could just pop a WXP token. And if you didn't have a solid match, you didn't have to pop a WXP token. So it really just benefited everybody, in my opinion. But that's just my outlook on it. So, here we are, Infinite Warfare, man. Lobbies are still pretty healthy. Alright. But lobbies are still pretty healthy for the most part. You can find TDMs pretty easily. There's a lot of people still playing this game, and I think this is because of the era. A lot of people nowadays are kind of over the boots on the ground stuff, and so a lot of people are wanting that next step, which is going to be exo movement. And you actually see when the mastery came out right there to my left on the girl character right here, Red Rocks Karen has it. And this had a lot of cool stuff. I mean, this is the first Call of Duty we really seen high quality content after the life cycle. So if we go here to barracks, not barracks, I'm sorry. If we go to weaponsmith and we look here, we had weapon charms in this game. I have Mr. Smoky Puss, best operator in the game. Attached a little accessory thing in the game. We obviously have the boobs as well. That was peak back then. And this had a lot of different stuff. I mean, this had extras. You had mission team stuff. You had multiplayer stuff. Camos. You had diamond camo. Which is one of my favorite diamonds ever. I love this diamond camo. Such a good camo. So different and unique. We had solar, which I have to show you guys this stuff, these two camos in zombies, because in zombies you can actually see them. Unfortunately, in this mode you do not. You have to unlock them to see them. But basically, solar was this orange camo. That was pretty cool. You had to basically earn diamond on all non-classic weapons. And then you have Black Sky, which is your Grand Mastery camo. That you had to earn solar and have all the classic diamond camos. If you're wondering how to get classic diamond, you basically just had to complete the classic category, which had things like the OSA, the MAC tab, the intervention, the Spaz 12, M1 Grand. I think it had, let's see, yeah, it had the Glock 18, which is the full auto Glock. So you had to get those all diamond, as well as getting all the default guns diamond. And this game was pretty easy for the most part. Again, this is that era of headshots, so obviously you had headshots for the mastery camo. And unfortunately, the snipers also had headshots. To this day, I don't understand why they did that. But, you know, it is what it is. So it looks like we didn't have. I don't think we have any cheaters on the other team. At least not MP30s. MP30s are usually on this game are cheaters, from my experience. It's very rare to see a legit Prestige Master 30 in this game. Pretty rare.
We're in the lead. You are a bunch of top blokes.
In my opinion, one of the best EXO games we've ever gotten. This is probably the most smooth. I don't know if he's gonna push or not. Definitely one of the most smooth EXO suits in my opinion. Like BO3 had a good EXO mechanic, but in terms of this style of gameplay, which is a wall running and stuff, this is definitely the smoothest we've ever had. But you can definitely tell it was because this is refined, and that's what I tell people all the time, man. Like, just because it's not your favorite EXO game doesn't mean it's not the best, because a lot of these games had really, like, this game had a really refined movement. This is the third iteration of Exosuit, so they had a lot of time to cook this one in the oven, because this is also the first year we had a separate game franchise, which was not Activision, sorry, Sledgehammer Games, which will come the year before this. Well, not the year before this, the year before Black Ops 3, which is Advanced Warfare. So Infinity Ward's last title by this point was actually Ghost. So they had 3 years to develop Infinite Warfare almost. So they had a lot of time to work on this game and really let it bake in the oven. And I think it really shows it at the end of the day. It really shows when you're looking at this game's mechanics and what it has to offer that it really did cook in the oven for quite a while. I used to be a god at this game, man. Like, I was so good at this game, bro. It just sucks so much that I'm not good at EXO anymore. It really does suck. I mean, I'm not ass completely, but definitely not as good as I once was. Now, one of the features I wasn't as big of a fan of in this game, that looking back on it, didn't really care for it, but at the time I actually really enjoyed it. But it's something that I've really not enjoyed. I wouldn't want it to come back. And that basically is basically the ability not to get nukes with every gun in the game. You basically have to use a certain weapon to get a nuke. That was not my favorite thing in the world, personally. I understand why they did it for balancing reasons. It made sense. I got shit on again. But it made sense balancing reasons why. Because they wanted you to use guns that were actually somewhat balanced to get nuclears. Now, obviously, there was still really overpowered weapons that you could get nukes with, which kind of counteracted that. The MV4 is considered probably one of the most broken guns in the game. But yeah, it was a unique mechanic, right? This is the first time in COD history that we had seen unique weapons for nuclears, and it will be also the last time we see that. That feature will go away going forward, and will not be brought back, at least as of the making of this video anyway. But it definitely was different. And this is also one of the first CODs to bring back the Ripper. This will be I want to say the last time we see the Ripper. I could be wrong, though. I don't think we see the Ripper anymore after this. I'm trying to think if there's another game that has a Ripper. I don't think so. There's games that have similar guns to the Ripper, but not the Ripper itself. And this right here is why I love the Ripper, bro. The Ripper is just peak, man. It's just so peak.
Oh yeah, no, that UAV, it's on standby. Fucking have a crack at it.
I'm trying to remember how to switch. We got a whole triangle for the switch modes. This is one of my favorite features about the Ripper, dude. I love the Ripper for this exact reason right here, bro. You can, like, go to AR mode. No way, bro. No, I choked it. But yeah, man, I love Infinite, dude. I could play this game all day, dude. I could totally get back in the hang of playing this game again. Especially if I can get back in the hang of playing with Exos and 60 FOV. I could play this shit all day. LS jump. Bro, how my teammate not died from that trip mine, bro? Big sad. But yeah, man, it really does suck that I'm not as good at these old CODs as I used to be. Oh, I actually didn't see him that time. I mean, I seen him, but I didn't see him. So that's like first time in a long time I've actually fell for the visible cloak thing. Um, it really does suck that I'm not as good at these old CODs as I used to be, bro. And this is why I kind of hate having modern CODs having the FOV sliders now, because even though they're great to have, they kind of make it hard for someone like me to come back and play these old CODs because I'm just not good at I basically have to relearn my FOV. I have to basically relearn the game for the FOVs, which is kind of unfortunate. Let's try the Kobar. This is one of the most popular guns I would say in this game. This is what all the sweats would use. If you were fighting sweats, they were using the Kobar. The Kobar kind of reminded me kind of like the M4 of this game. Even though the MV4 is supposed to be your M4 of this game, the K-Bar feels most like it in terms of how people use it. That's just my opinion on the matter, though. I mean, some people might say differ. It kind of felt the same way about Advanced Warfare, where I felt the HBRE-3 was probably the best gun in the game, but a lot of people would say the K-Bar was. But everyone else would say the Battle 27 was. But in this game, a lot of the sweats used the K-Bar. Like when in ranked play was big, pretty much everyone used K-Bar, pretty much. It was very rare to see people not use the K-Bar. So now we play the match. Let's go over some of the cool stuff this game had. So this game had something called Mission Teams, which was a way for you to have daily challenges for different teams. Now these challenges, I don't believe they reset or anything, but they were predetermined challenges. But you could do these challenges pretty much every day. And you can level these mission teams up and get cool rewards for them, like guns and stuff. And you go up to rank 100. Initially at launch, there was only 1 or 2 teams, and they could only go to 50. But by the end of the life cycle, they had added more teams, and they had increased the level to 100 when they added the Mark IIs. Now, that's another thing I want to talk about real quick. They've added something called Mark IIs in this game. Mark IIs are basically like this cool camo version of the same blueprints you could get regular, but these gave you boosted XP. And there was tons of different stuff you could get here. I have a ton of these Mark IIs. And there's some cool stuff here. Like here you have the RPR Evo, which is going to be the Ripper. You can actually get the Mark II version of that. That's something I want with the Mark II. I would always wanted the Mark II version of the Ripper. But I never got it. But there's also something called Quartermaster Collection. These were like supply drop limited items. Now there's a lot of supply drop only items, but supply drops were pretty balanced in my opinion in this game. This is like the last this is the last middle ground between unfair supply drops and fair supply drops. After this, you're gonna have World War II. That's gonna have really good supply drops. And then BO4 is gonna have really bad. So this is like the last game that's kind of right in the middle. This is Modern Warfare Master, we're kind of in the middle. Here's the Mission Team Depot. These are the weapons you get at the base 50 levels. And at level 100 on these teams, you get the Mark II versions of these guns. So like I have the Mark II version of the Phobos and of the Demos. So you can get a Mark II version of the Widowmaker, as well as Windfall and Gemini as well, which is pretty cool. This game also introduced something called Score Streak Lab, which is basically a way to grind score streak rarities. And these were kind of like their version of the upgrades you see in Advanced Warfare, that video, where you can kind of upgrade the actual score sheet to make it do different things. And this is kind of the next step in that line of customization. BO3 didn't have this. So this game had 3 versions of every score streak, which is pretty cool. These were not that crazy, like other than like the advanced UV, I think, which are pretty crazy. A lot of these didn't feel much different with the different rarities, in my opinion, but you know, they had their own uses. And then obviously you have the prototype lab, which allowed you to kind of buy whatever blueprint you wanted with a salvage you wanted. I have a lot of these, most of these from playing during the life cycle of the game. But that's something cool if that's something that you wanted to grind that was always accessible to you. You also had specialists in this game, and you had a lot of options. By a lot of options, you didn't have a lot at all. Probably one of the weakest specialist options in terms of like how many you have to choose from. BO3 definitely had by far the most. Yeah, and he had a lot of tons of cool stuff in here. Camos were pretty cool. So let's go over some camos that I really enjoyed. We'll go over some of the stuff we can see here, and then we'll go to zombies and some other stuff we can't see. But some of my favorite camos we ever got, we have like Psychedelic, which again, really want Psychedelic brought back. It's such a cool camo. We actually have Spectrum V2. This is a supply drop camo, and this is actually the remake of the original Spectrum camo from Call of Duty Ghosts, which is one of the rarest camos I think ever, to be honest, in COD history. There's some really good ones. This one's really cool. This is one of the first reactive camos we ever seen in Call of Duty, where as you get kills, it gets bloodier, and it turns completely red after, I think, so many kills, like 30 or 40 kills. So that's a really cool thing that one talks about, is it's like one of the first reactive camos ever. So, that's pretty cool. And again, there's tons of camos in here. So I honestly, even the plain non-reactive camos or non-moving camos were even fire in this game. I think Infinity Ward just knocked it out the park with this game in terms of customization. Look at this American flag camo. It's actually such a fire camo. We need to bring back flag camos. Flag camos need to become a thing, and everyone should just get them, in my opinion. But there's some pretty cool camos in here. Like this is Lightwave. We got Circuit Board, Viral, Inferno, GeoWave, Board Shorts, Radical, Rainbow, Halftone. This one was fire. This is Amber. This is kind of what Solar looked like, so it's pretty cool. If you didn't want to get Solar, you could kind of get something similar to Solar. And this is something I wanted to talk about in these videos, but now that we're in this specific game, I can really talk about, because this is when it really started to kick off. We need to bring back the holiday event camos that are free. So like these camos you see, Radical and Board Shorts, these were entirely free camos added to the game for holiday events. I think this was a summer event that they did, and this is something they did for, I believe, BO3, World War II, BO4, and for Infinite Warfare. Those 4 games where even like during special seasons, you got special camos or special blueprints or special characters, and like for example, for Christmas, you got the 12 days login prizes. We don't see any of that stuff anymore. Now it's all tied to leaderboard events or collection events, and it's just really boring. And I really wish that we get this stuff back, because it was so cool logging in every day for 12 days in a row before Christmas, and then on Christmas Day logging in and you get a brand new camo that was cool and reactive and moved and shit. It was such a cool experience, dude. I really miss that experience of logging in. But here we got Jack-o'-lantern. Ravenous, these are Halloween camos now we're getting into, and this camo is just Haunted. I really like this camo, and I would like to see this come back in some form. Such a sick idea for a camo. Then you have Mission Team camos. You got Mission Team camos from basically doing what I said earlier, but just leveling up the different things. This camo's Paranoia is kind of like a Call of Duty Ghost inspired camo, which is pretty sick. And we have extra camos. So you got Alien Mixtapes, and then you have the CDO World League camo. I believe you had to sign up. It was either this camo or the other World League camo. One of these 2 World League camos, you had to sign up for the game battles. I did a lot of game battles back then to get these camos, which is pretty cool. We also have the Code Courage pack. This is the pack you get for buying and supporting the U.S. military. You had Frosted. This is a free camo during Christmas. And then you have this Champion camo as well, which is pretty cool. Again, you had weapon procedures in this game. I don't remember what the rewards were for these, but I believe there was some type of reward. I don't remember exactly, but again, you can see here there's tons of rewards for those. Barracks, this is one of the last Call of Duties to offer announce packs. We had the Special Forces UK, which I think was Ghost. And we had Method Man, Aussie Man Reviews, which Aussie Man, I haven't heard from him in forever. I don't even know if he still uploads. We had Ken Jeong, which is a Asian comedian, and we had Grandma Knows Best. The game before this that had this was, I believe, Ghost, and that had Snoop Dogg. And I think Method Man and Snoop Dogg were on Ghost, now that I'm thinking about it, but I don't know. And emblems are the same thing. There's tons of emblems that you could choose from. Obviously, there's 30 procedures in the game. Calling cards, you had tons of calling cards in this game. Some of the best calling cards I think we've ever seen, in my personal opinion. There's just so many good calling cards in here. If we go to, I think, Special Ops here's a nuke calling card for getting a nuke, which is pretty cool. Let's see, Prestige calling cards, campaign, Outfitter. This is also one of the last CODs to have sexy calling cards. So if you know what I'm talking about, then you're probably gonna be like, "Ooh, this is the last COD to really do like moving calling cards with women involved." A lot of calling cards we have today are kind of more censored, but this is like the last COD they really didn't care, and they kind of just wanted you to, to get what you wanted to get. Like right here's a perfect example. This whole category was dedicated to women, and different women in different poses. So this is like the last COD to really kind of not have a filter on it too hard. This game really just kind of allowed you to kind of be whatever you wanted to be. You didn't get kind of locked into one specific thing, which was really nice. Records, you can see here, you can see medals, you can see match prestige, you have classic weapon unlocks, you can see permanent unlocks. You can see over here on the right hand side of the mission stats. This is something really cool. So you can actually see how many missions have been completed in those things and what the ranks are, which is pretty cool. Challenges, you can kind of see what the percentages here. And let's go over to zombies real quick and showcase the mastery camos as well as some stuff in mastery. Oh, we got some free keys, so we can do a little bit of a supply drop opening actually. No, we can't because it didn't give us it. All right, big sad. So, let's showcase the public match, the maps we had. So we had Zombies in Spaceland, Raven Redwoods, we had Shaolin Shuffle, we had Attack of Radioactive Thing, Beast from Beyond. We had this, which is I believe the boss fight mode for each map, which is pretty cool. I don't remember where we go here. I think it's Barrack. No, it's loadout. I'm stupid. It's loadout. So over here we had this is Black Sky. So if we go here, for some reason they decided to give everyone the mastery camo and zombies. So here's Solar and Black Sky. In my opinion, still to this day, one of the greatest pairs of mastery camos I think we've ever had in COD history. They're so beautiful, man. But we obviously have Director's Cut, which I don't have Director's Cut on this account. And by the way, there's tons of these camos that I haven't showcased, by the way, in these Quartermaster. I don't have every camo for every gun. This is, again, the same mechanic system we had in BO3, where you had to acquire every camo for every gun. But if that's something you want to look into, you guys can definitely look up videos. I think some people out there have every camo unlocked that you can actually see them, so which is pretty cool. Something else we had in Zombies with Fate and Fortune cards. These are kind of like Gobblegums of the past. And they were great in their own way. Definitely not as overpowered as Gobblegums in my opinion, but they definitely were a unique experience. We can go to my stats a little bit, look at zombie stats, because why not? So solo, 9 scenes, so around 9, nothing crazy. Solo for attack, 24. Solo for Shaolin, 22. 25 for Rave. And 29 for Spaceland for solo. I did play mostly with other players, but I didn't really go high rounds in solos or in this game in general. So, it is what it is. We have 136,000 kills, about 5,400 rounds played. Highest round is 41. Best weapon is the Raw. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. Zombies really wasn't like a crazy thing for me. This is back again during the era where I was focusing mainly on MP. So I really didn't play that much zombies. But it was definitely a good experience. Here's some secret calling cards. Right here's got a secret calling card. There's obviously director's cuts and all types of cool stuff. We had super EEs on this game as well, which is pretty cool. And yeah, it was a great time. For just in general for this game. And obviously this game came with Modern Warfare Remastered. But yeah, that's Infinite Warfare in 2026, man. There's really not a whole lot of negative things about this game, in my opinion. This game had so many positives. It just came out the wrong time. And I think if this game would have took Black Ops 3 slot, or hell, even Advanced Warfare slot, then this would be considered one of the greats of all time. It truly is unfortunate that it got released in an era where they were kind of over EXO games and people just didn't want another EXO game. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this. Did you guys enjoy Infinite Warfare? I know I sure as the hell did. Next game we got is World War II. I'm hoping I play better in that game because that's a game I played that's the most recent COD game that has 60 FOV that I played. So hopefully your boy still got it over there, man. I'm nervous, bro. I'm real nervous. But hey, it is what it is. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.